A while back, somebody left a comment on one of my videos saying that she found out about covert narcissism by literally Googling the term crazy-making behavior. And to me, that sounded like an absolute perfect description of what you go through when you're with a covert narcissist. But that comment also made me so incredibly thankful that we have so many resources out there on this topic today that somebody could literally Google crazy-making behavior and find out that they're actually in a relationship with somebody who might be a covert narcissist. So I hope you're ready to hear about the 11 crazy-making behaviors that are incredibly common with the covert narcissist, because that's exactly what we're going to cover now. Welcome to the Common Ego community. My name is Christina, and on this channel we talk about narcissistic abuse, its connection with spirituality, and we attempt to answer the question, where do we go from here? So if that all sounds good to you, be sure you're subscribed and hit that notification bell so you don't miss a thing. If you're already subscribed, thank you and welcome back. We're about to jump into the 11 crazy-making behaviors that are so common with a covert narcissist. But before I do, a little disclaimer. So a lot of these crazy-making behaviors you'll find with other types of narcissists and other emotionally abusive people. But there are some in here that are specific to the covert narcissist. So there is a little bit of something in here for everyone, but if you've been with a covert narcissist specifically, you're probably going to relate to all of these crazy-making behaviors. So let's jump in with number 1. The first crazy-making behavior of a covert narcissist that we have on this list is word salad. Now, I know you are with me. This is one of the craziest making behaviors out there because you feel like you're an intelligent person, like you could follow a conversation. But when you're in a conversation, a discussion, an argument, a disagreement with a covert narcissist, or actually any other type of narcissist, most narcissists do employ this word salad technique. When you're in a conversation with a narcissist, you somehow lose sight of what you're talking about because the other person just starts spewing nonsense. They're talking about things that have absolutely nothing to do with the conversation, and any logical person would see this. But logic doesn't apply in conversations with narcissists. So you're left scratching your head and wondering what is going on. Why is this conversation that should be so simple making me crazy? And the second crazy making behavior of a narcissist is gaslighting. And I have an entire video on gaslighting if you're interested in learning more about that and all the ways that a narcissist may employ gaslighting in your relationship with them. I'm going to link to that in the card and the description. But ultimately with gaslighting, you end up realizing that this person has a very, very selective grip on reality. Regardless of what they've done or how they've treated you, they are going to turn things around and make it look like you're the one who is, maybe you're the abuser, or maybe they'll just make you look or feel like you're crazy for bringing this stuff up. You may even have hard evidence that this person has lied to you, or maybe they called you out in front of a bunch of people and they said things that were not nice, so you have witnesses. You have hard evidence that this person did the things that you're saying they're doing, but they're just outright telling you it didn't happen. They are trying to get you to question your sense of reality. And before you realize who you're really dealing with and what type of personality you're dealing with, you may have thought that this person was otherwise a logical person. So when somebody who you have respected starts to question your sanity or make you question your sanity, it can have a really big impact. Gaslighting is incredibly dangerous. The third crazy-making behavior of a covert narcissist is the circular argument. And this goes hand in hand with the first two, actually, with word salad and with gaslighting. But if you're like me, you have experience arguing with narcissists, and you would probably prefer to have a root canal. These conversations, if you allow them, these conversations will not end. The narcissist will use word salad, and they'll use all sorts of confusion techniques and gaslighting. They'll use whatever they can. They will talk in circles just to avoid admitting that they're wrong about something. And it could be the silliest little thing. You didn't put the cap back on the toothpaste. Well, they will talk in circles until you get so tired of talking about this thing, you just let it go. Now, the next crazy making behavior of a covert narcissist is pretty specific to the covert type of abuser. And this is that the person has a different public persona. So other people think they're a certain way. They might think that they're, shy or insecure and they would never hurt anyone. But behind closed doors, they are verbally or emotionally just tearing you down. You realize that even though the abuse may be subtle and covert, that over the course of your relationship with this person, that it's really, really having an impact on your sense of self-worth and your self-esteem. But if you try to explain this to anyone else, they're kind of looking at you like there might be something wrong with you. They would never believe that this person would do anything to harm you. And the fifth crazy making behavior of the covert narcissist is also related to the fourth, but it's more about your perception of this person. So when you meet this person, they seem harmless. They seem completely harmless. Maybe you've had a relationship with somebody who's more of an overt narcissist, or maybe people in your family who have been very overt in your face narcissists. And you meet this person and you think, well, they're the opposite of that. They're not abusive. There's no way this person would ever be abusive. They may even seem a little bit self-deprecating at times, but even though they can talk about themselves however they'd like, if you try to bring up something that they did wrong, that's when you'll see the narcissism really shining through. And you'll also see it in how they treat you on the day-to-day, how they treat you like you're not worthy, you're not good enough. But because their outward persona is so different, and you'll see it come and go in this relationship, but because that outward persona is so different from the abuser that you come to know over time, it kind of makes you question yourself and your ability to discern whether someone is safe or not. The next crazy making behavior of a covert narcissist, and this could happen with other types of narcissists, but it is more common with the covert type. It's the faux apology. And again, I have an entire video on the faux apology. And if you've ever encountered it, you may find that video really interesting. So I'm going to link to that also in the card in the description. But the faux apology can make you crazy because you believe it. You believe that this person is actually sorry. Sometimes, especially the covert narcissist, may actually even apologize in order to get what they want. But what they're saying when they say, I'm sorry, is really, I'm sorry I'm not getting what I want. And I know if I say that, if I know I say those words, I'm sorry, I will get what I want. So they use an apology almost like a weapon against you, but you think they're sincere. And then they just go ahead and repeat that same behavior that they were supposedly sorry for so many times before. They repeat that same behavior, and usually it's abusive behavior, and you feel like you're banging your head against a wall every time you have to bring it up because you've talked about it so many times, and maybe even so many times they've said, I'm sorry. Or maybe they've given you maybe not an outright apology. Maybe they've danced around the topic and made it seem like they gave you an apology, but they really didn't. But either way, you think that they were sorry. You think they recognized and acknowledged their bad behavior. Yet here they are doing the same thing again and again and again. So the seventh crazy making behavior of a covert narcissist, and this one applies to other narcissists as well and other types of abusive people, but the actions and the words are never aligned with these people. In the love bombing phase, they may tell you all kinds of things. They may tell you exactly what you want to hear. They're just like you. You like to run, they like to run. You're vegetarian. They're almost vegetarian. They're like so close to being vegetarian. But then you get further down the line with them and you realize, oh, they love to run, but they never do it. Maybe you ask them to go running with you and they just have no interest. But I thought you loved running. I thought that was one of your passions. Their words will tell you yes, but their actions will tell you no. And this one can make you crazy when their words are consistently telling you yes. when they're saying, yes, I do, but I just don't feel like it right now. Because you want to believe their words. But over time, you just see that their actions are not lining up. And in these abusive relationships, it does get very deep. You know, will say, I love you, but they won't act like they love you. Maybe they'll end up cheating on you or lying to you or hiding stuff from you. Their actions and their words on every level are not aligned. But when you get into these relationships, when the trauma bond starts to take hold, it becomes very difficult for you to apply your own logic to what's going on. So you start believing their words more than their actions. But really, it should be the other way around. Number 8 is avoidance. So this is another one that shows up very often in those circular arguments and whenever the narcissist is employing word salad, in those incredibly crazy-making conversations. And what I'm talking about is when you ask somebody a question and they respond with words. They have words that are adjacent to the question you asked, but they're not answering the question. Example, where were you after work yesterday? Answer, well, where do you think I was after work yesterday? Why are you questioning where I was after work yesterday? What do you think, I went to the bar? Isn't it possible that I just worked late? Why do you assume that I went somewhere after work yesterday? Come on, stop being ridiculous. You see, I used a lot of words, but I never actually answered the question. And this type of avoidance can make you crazy. And once you get used to it, you start seeing it so much in these conversations. And whenever you ask the narcissist a question that they really want to avoid, and then you can very, very easily end up in a circular argument because you're recognizing that they're not answering your question. And you kind of take the bait and you keep pushing to get an answer, but you don't get an answer. You get circular talk that just ends up making you crazy. So the 9th crazy-making behavior is shift responses. Shift responses are responses that a narcissist often uses, and also other emotionally unaware and possibly emotionally abusive people. This one is a little bit more general, but you will very commonly see it with narcissists, and that's how it made the list. Let's just say you're at work and you overheard somebody who you thought was a work friend saying something inappropriate about you behind your back, maybe sharing something that you shared with them or something that made you uncomfortable. So you come home and you share this with the narcissist in your life, and instantly, like that, they're shifting the conversation back to themselves. So I remember a time that happened to me, and here's how it went down. And they're describing in detail this thing that maybe happened 5 years ago and is completely irrelevant to your day and your feelings. But they're just shifting the conversation back to them. And this kind of thing, it can make you a little crazy because we expect a little bit of support from the people who are important to our lives. So we expect that if something happened that we're upset about, that we're going to be able to talk about it with somebody who's close to us. But if that somebody who's close to you is a narcissist, you're not going to be able to talk very long before they shift the conversation back to themselves. So number 10. This crazy-making behavior, there's a little bit of depth to it. So what they do is they make you doubt your own self-worth. And that is a very common characteristic within an emotionally abusive relationship. But what I'm talking about here is how we end up picking up some of the traits of a narcissist. And I can tell you from my own experience, I've been there. I've been in that place where I feel so low that when I talk to other people, especially when I would talk to people in this abusive person's life, like his friends and family, I would feel like I had something to prove. And in these conversations, I would end up saying something that sounded very narcissistic. And immediately after I said it, I would hate myself for it. Oh my, that sounded terrible. Why did that come out? How did that even come out of my mouth? We end up picking up these narcissistic traits in the relationship with a narcissist for a variety of reasons. But one of those reasons could be that this person has essentially attacked your own sense of self-worth and your own self-esteem. So you end up feeling like you're starting from a deficit. Wherever you are, whoever you're talking to, you're coming from a place of deficit, and you feel like you have to prove something. You have to build yourself up, and you could end up acting in a way that seems narcissistic. I get this question a lot, and fortunately, in your adult life, when you're in a relationship with a narcissist, they can't make you a narcissist. They can't actually, as much as they will try, they can't actually pull you down to their level if you're not already a narcissist. And if you're questioning that, I have a video on it that might help you kind of work through those things. If you have picked up traits from a narcissist or multiple narcissists in your life, this video might help you figure out whether they're truly just traits that you've picked up or not. Okay, so the 11th and final crazy-making behavior of a covert narcissist is the cognitive dissonance that you experience within that relationship. And cognitive dissonance is something that happens within you when, for example, when someone is employing all these other crazy-making behaviors. You know this person is making you crazy, you know it, but you continue to go back to that person. You know this person on some level, you know this person is bad for you. You know that you feel worse about yourself in this relationship than you've felt about yourself out of this relationship. When you're away from this person for a prolonged period of time, you actually feel better about yourself. Yet, you still make the decision to stay or to go back. It's that internal struggle that can make you feel a little bit crazy. It can make you feel like, I know the answers, but I'm not living them. And somehow, it's like you've become a person where your actions and words are not aligned. Because you can identify it. You can say, I know this is bad for me. I know this person is doing all these bad things, but yet you're still there. And that is cognitive dissonance, and it's completely natural in these relationships. And if you're currently struggling with this, or if you're considering going back to somebody who has been abusive to you, I have a video on the trauma bond that I'm going to link to in the card in the description that might help you work through some of that. Because again, it's natural, it's no reason to judge yourself. I think it helps to acknowledge the trauma bond and what naturally happens after being in an abusive relationship. So if you like this video, please let me know by hitting that like button. And if you're not already subscribed, consider doing so, and I will see you next time.